The rain hammered the windshield like accusations from a forgotten god, blurring the neon sign of the roadside diner into a watery grave. Elena gripped the steering wheel until her knuckles ached, her heart slamming against ribs that had carried grief for a quarter-century, whispering the names she buried deep. Ava, Bella, Clara. In that instant, as lightning cracked the sky over this godforsaken stretch of I-95 in upstate New York, her phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. They're alive. And she's here too. Elena's breath caught, a sob escaping before she could cage it. 24 years ago, on a sweltering August night in 2001, her world had shattered. The triplets, barely 3 years old, with their matching curls and giggles that echoed like wind chimes, had vanished from their backyard in suburban Boston. No ransom, no clues, just an empty playpen and a note pinned to the kitchen door. They're safer without you. The police called it a runaway father scenario, but Elena knew better. There was no father. Only Sophia, her Sophia. The woman whose touch had lit her soul in the shadowed corners of a world that still whispered sin, for loves like theirs. They'd met in 1995, two wide-eyed 20-somethings at a dive bar in Cambridge, Massachusetts, where the air smelled of stale beer and unspoken dreams. Elena, a budding journalist with ink-stained fingers and a fire for truth, had locked eyes with Sophia, a quiet artist sketching strangers' faces on napkins. "You look like you carry the weight of the stars," Sophia had said, her voice a soft melody cutting through the jukebox's wail. That night, under the flicker of a single bulb, they'd kissed for the first time, tentative, electric, a promise sealed in the hush of secrecy. In an era when don't ask, don't tell lingered like smoke, their love was a rebellion wrapped in whispers. They built a life in stolen moments. Weekend getaways to Cape Cod, where waves crashed like applause for their hidden vows. Late-night talks in Elena's tiny apartment, bodies entwined under threadbare sheets, dreaming of a future where they could stand hand in hand without fear. By 1998, the triplets arrived. A miracle born from donor seed and unyielding hope. 3 tiny miracles swaddled in pink blankets, their cries a symphony that drowned out the world's judgments. Sophia had held them first, her painter's hands trembling as she traced their button noses. "Ours," she'd murmured, tears carving paths down her cheeks. "All ours." Elena watched, her heart swelling until it hurt, knowing this was the family she'd fight galaxies for. But shadows crept in. Sophia's conservative family in Connecticut disowned her with a single phone call. "Choose them or us." The triplets' pediatrician raised an eyebrow at joint custody papers. Whispers followed them at playgrounds. 2 women, no ring, 3 identical girls. "Unnatural," someone hissed once, loud enough to scar. The strain fractured them slowly. Arguments flared over small things. Sophia's reluctance to march in the sparse pride parades. Elena's insistence on documenting their story for a world that might one day listen. "We can't hide forever," Elena pleaded one evening, as the girls napped in the next room. Sophia's eyes, once bright as sea glass, dulled. "Hiding keeps us safe." For them. In July 2001, Sophia vanished without a word, leaving only that cryptic note Elena found months later, tucked in a sketchbook. "I love you too much to destroy you. Forgive me." Elena searched, private investigators, sleepless nights poring over maps, but Sophia was a ghost, her art shows cancelled, her bank accounts drained to nothing. Then weeks later the triplets disappeared. Elena's world collapsed into a void of fluorescent-lit interrogation rooms and pitying stares. "Custody battle gone wrong," the detectives muttered, eyeing her single mom status with suspicion. Alone, Elena clawed through the darkness, raising ghosts instead of girls, her journalism career sidelined for dead-end jobs and therapy sessions that peeled back layers of rage and regret. Now at 48, Elena was a shell rebuilt from ash. A freelance editor in a cramped Brooklyn walk-up, her nights haunted by faded photos and the echo of tiny laughter. The message on her phone, timestamp 2:17 a.m., was from a blocked sender. "Coordinates to an abandoned mill in the Hudson Valley," a plea scrawled in hasty text. "Come alone. Truth waits." Her pulse thundered as she punched the location into GPS, tires slicing through puddles that mirrored her fractured reflection. Why now? After all these years? The storm raged on, a tempest mirroring the one inside her, fear twisting with a fragile spark of hope. The mill loomed like a skeletal relic, its rusted silos piercing the storm clouds, windows shattered like broken promises. Elena parked under a sagging oak, flashlight beam cutting through sheets of rain as she approached the chain-link fence. A gap yawned invitingly, snipped wire curling like a beckoning finger. Her boots sank into mud, each step a prayer. Let it be real. Let it not break me again. Inside, the air hung heavy with mildew and memory, beams creaking like old bones. A single lantern flickered in the distance, casting shadows that danced like specters. Elena. The voice, soft, achingly familiar, froze her mid-stride. Sophia stepped from the gloom, unchanged yet transformed. The same lithe frame, blonde hair now threaded with silver, eyes holding oceans of sorrow. She wore a simple rain slicker, hands clasped as if holding herself together. I never stopped loving you. Elena's knees buckled, the flashlight clattering to the concrete. You left? She whispered, voice raw as exposed wire. You took everything. But even as fury surged, love betrayed her. Arms reaching before her mind could protest, pulling Sophia into an embrace that spanned decades. They clung there, rain dripping from hoods, bodies remembering the curve of hips and the rhythm of breaths synced in the dark. Why? Elena choked, pulling back to search that face, tracing the lines time had etched. The girls, our girls. Sophia's gaze dropped, tears mingling with rain. I didn't take them. God, Elena, I wish I had. It was my brother. Victor. He couldn't let me go. The words spilled then. A torrent long damned Victor, the golden son of Sophia's devout family, obsessed with saving her from Elena's influence. In 2001, he'd orchestrated it all, forging documents to claim the triplets as his own, spiriting them to a remote farm in Vermont under the guise of a custody win. Sophia discovered too late, tracking him through whispers and art circles, but by then, he'd hidden them deep in a web of false identities, raising them as his nieces in isolation, poisoning their minds against the unnatural mothers who'd abandoned them. He said it was for their souls, Sophia wept. I fought Elena. I infiltrated his life as an aunt, watched from afar, but he threatened to vanish them forever if I spoke. Elena's mind reeled, pieces slotting into nightmare. Victor's smug calls during the investigation, his alibi airtight. And you hid? Let me grieve alone. The accusation hung sharp as shattered glass. I hid to protect you, Sophia said, voice breaking. He knew about us, our love. He would have dragged you through courts, painted you as unfit. I became a shadow, piecing together clues, waiting for the right moment. The girls. They grew up fierce, Elena. Just like you. She pulled a crumpled photo from her pocket. 3 young women, mid-20s, laughing at a harvest festival, their faces mirror images of Elena's own youth. Ava's the dreamer with your fire for stories. Bella's the fighter, sketching like I do but with a warrior's edge. Clara's the quiet storm, healing wounds with her hands. They don't know yet. But they're coming. Footsteps echoed then. 3 sets, hesitant, from the mill's upper loft. Elena's heart seized as figures descended the rickety stairs, lanterns multiplying like stars igniting. There they were. Ava, tall and poised with auburn waves cascading over a leather jacket, green eyes wide with curiosity. Bella, athletic and bold, short-cropped hair framing a determined jaw, fists clenched at her sides. Clara, soft-featured with a healer's gaze, braids adorned with feathers, a notebook clutched like a shield. They were women now, forged in secrecy, yet unmistakably hers, their mother's echo in every line. Mom! Ava's voice trembled, the word foreign on her tongue, as if tasting sunlight after endless night. The dam broke. Elena surged forward, enveloping them in a crush of arms and sobs, scents of rain and earth mingling with the faint lavender of childhood soaps she'd long forgotten. My girls, she gasped, fingers threading through hair that matched her own. You're here. You're real. Bella stiffened at first, then melted, her tough facade cracking into quiet heaves. Clara whispered apologies for years stolen, for confusion sown, while Sophia hovered, tears streaming, her hand finally finding Elena's in the tangle. But joy was a fragile bloom in the storm's shadow. Victor's reach lingered. He'd grown bolder, his farm a cultish haven where isolation bred loyalty. He lied to us. Bella spat, voice laced with venom. Said you were monsters, that our real family was blood and Bible. But we found the letters, your letters, Mom, hidden in the attic. And Aunt Sophomore, she slipped us clues, drawings with codes. Ava nodded, unfolding a sketch. A map etched in Sophia's hand leading here. We ran when he tried to marry us off, to purify us. He's coming for us now. The revelation ignited a fire in Elena's veins. Maternal fury unquenchable. Not this time, she vowed, pulling them close, Sophia's warmth at her back at anchor. In that derelict mill under the relentless rain they forged a pact. 5 women bound by blood and buried love. Against a man who'd twisted faith into chains. Dawn crept in, painting the rafters gold. As they piled into Elena's old sedan, laughing through tears, sharing fragments of lost years. Sophia's fingers laced with Elena's over the gearshift. A silent vow renewed. The road stretched ahead, winding through the Hudson Valley's mist-shrouded hills, toward a safe house Sophia had prepared in the Adirondacks. A cabin by a whispering lake, stocked with canvases and notebooks, a sanctuary for mending. As miles unspooled, stories flowed like rivers breaking banks. The triplets spoke of their cloistered life. Mornings milking goats on Victor's compound, evenings poring over smuggled books. Elena's bylines clipped from old newspapers, Sophia's anonymous gallery pieces admired in secret. We always felt different, Clara confessed, her voice soft as lake water. Like pieces missing but echoes calling us home. Ava recounted the night they pieced it together. A locked trunk yielding Elena's love letters to Sophia, passionate scrawls of my forever, and our hidden dawn, yellowed but alive. Bella, ever the rebel, had confronted Victor, his rage confirming the truth. They fled under cover of a harvest moon, hearts pounding with the thrill of stolen freedom. Sophia, from the passenger seat, shared her vigil. Years as a wandering artist, exhibiting under pseudonyms in Portland galleries and New Orleans studios, each sale funding detectives and bribes for scraps of intel. I painted you all, she said, voice thick. Hundreds of canvases, your faces in every stroke, keeping me sane. Elena glanced at her, the woman who'd been her North Star, now silvered but no less radiant. You never gave up, she murmured, squeezing Sophia's hand. The touch sparked memories. Stolen kisses in Boston Commons, bodies arching in moonlit bedrooms, the triplets' first steps cheered by 2 mothers' applause. Love once caged, now bloomed unchecked. Sophia's thumb tracing Elena's palm. A language only they spoke. By midday they reached the cabin, a weathered A-frame nestled in pine groves, its porch swing creaking welcomes. Inside, wood smoke curled from the hearth, quilts piled high like invitations to heal. They collapsed into a heap on the rug, limbs entangled, breath sinking. As Clara brewed chamomile tea, her herbalist touch soothing frayed nerves. Tell us everything, Ava urged, eyes alight. Elena began, voice weaving the tapestry of their beginnings. The bar where fate collided, Sophia's napkin sketches that captured Elena's soul. The IVF clinic's sterile hope yielding 3 miracles. She spoke of joys, the triplets' first words, Mama, for both of them a defiant claim. And sorrows, Sophia's family's ultimatums, the 2001 fracture that left her adrift. As evening fell, shadows lengthening like fingers of doubt, Sophia pulled Elena aside to the porch. The lake mirrored a sunset of bruised purples and golds, loons calling mournful duets. I was wrong to run, Sophia whispered, cupping Elena's face. Fear stole us, but love brought us back. Their lips met then, slow, reverent, tasting of salt and second chances. Elena's hands roamed familiar paths, igniting embers long banked, their bodies pressing close as if to merge wounds into wholeness. Inside, the girls pretended not to notice, but smiles ghosted their faces. Ava sketching the scene in quick lines, Bella stoking the fire higher, Clara humming a lullaby from half-remembered dreams. Yet peace was a truce, not victory. That night, as stars pricked the velvet sky, Elena's phone lit with a blocked call, Victor's voice, oily and unyielding. You think you can steal what's mine? Blood calls to blood. The line died, but the threat lingered, a serpent in Eden. Elena gathered them by the fire, flames dancing like warnings. He's coming, she said, resolve stealing her spine. But we're not hiding anymore. We're fighting for us, for what we are. The triplets nodded, faces fierce. Ava's intellect plotting escapes, Bella's strength ready for confrontation, Clara's empathy binding them tighter. Sophia sketched a family portrait in the firelight. 5 women unbowed, their loves a constellation defying darkness. Days blurred into a rhythm of reclamation, mornings hiking mist-veiled trails where laughter echoed freer. Afternoons in the cabin, Elena reading her old articles aloud, the girls devouring tales of justice won. Sophia taught brushstrokes, her hands guiding Ava's to capture the lake's shimmer, Bella's to etch defiant lines. Evenings brought truths unpacked. Victor's manipulations, the isolation that starved their spirits, the queer undercurrents they'd sensed in stolen library books, whispers of loves like their mothers. "We thought we were broken," Clara admitted one dusk as fireflies ignited. "But seeing you too, it's like breathing after drowning." Elena's heart ached with pride mingled with terror. Victor's shadow loomed. Scouts spotted near the valley, his network of faithful closing in. They fortified. Bella rigging tripwires from scavenged wire, Ava hacking public records for leverage, Clara foraging supplies with quiet efficiency. Sophia and Elena stole moments amid the prep. Kisses in the pantry, bodies yielding to passion on the loft bed. Reaffirming that their love was the triplets' true inheritance. Resilient, unashamed. The climax brewed on the 7th day, thunder rumbling like Victor's wrath. Drones buzzed overhead, his voice crackling over a bullhorn from the tree-lean. Sophia daughters returned to purity or faced judgment. The women stood shoulder to shoulder on the porch, Elena's voice booming back. "We're not your puppets. We're free." Chaos erupted, figures charging through underbrush, but the traps sprung. Nets ensnaring thugs, flares lighting the night for hidden cameras Ava had rigged, broadcasting live to news outlets Elena had tipped anonymously. Victor emerged, Bible in hand, face twisted in fanatic zeal. A man in his 50s, paunchy and red-faced, flanked by burly enforcers. "Abominations," he bellowed, eyes locking on Sophia. "You poisoned them with your deviance." But the triplets stepped forward, a united front. "You're the poison," Bella snarled, shoving him back. Ava held up her phone, footage rolling. Years of abuse documented, smuggled clips of Victor's rants. Clara's voice, steady as roots, added, "We choose love. Real love, not your chains." Sophia faced him then, unflinching. "Brother, you twisted faith into hate. But love? It endures." Elena flanked her, hand in hers, a public claim defiant. Victor lunged, but state troopers, summoned by Elena's journalistic contacts, swarmed from the woods, badges glinting under floodlights. Cuffs clicked, his empire crumbling in shouts and sirens. As he was dragged away, his glare fractured. "You'll burn for this." But burn they did not. In the aftermath, as media vans clogged the dirt road, the family stood unbroken. Headlines screaming, "Long-lost triplets reunite with lesbian moms in dramatic rescue." Trials followed, Victor's compound raided. Survivors testifying to years of control. The women retreated to Boston. Elena's old apartment expanded into a home with room for canvases and cribs. Clara's herbal practice budding. Ava penning their story. Bella training as a defender. Months wove into healing. Pride parades where they marched hand in hand, rainbows draping their shoulders. Family dinners alive with overlapping voices, laughter drowning old silences. Sophia and Elena renewed vows in a quiet Cape Cod ceremony. Waves witnessing as the triplets stood as witnesses. Tears of completion. Love once hidden now illuminated. Lesbian bonds weaving through blood ties. A testament to endurance. In quiet nights, Elena would trace Sophia's face, whispering, "We made it." The triplets, now aunts to be in their own budding lives, would join, a circle complete. For in reclaiming the lost, they'd unearthed something profound. That love between women, fierce and unyielding, could shatter chains and birth worlds anew. And in America's evolving heart, they thrived. Not as survivors, but as architects of tomorrow. The cabin's hearth had cooled to embers by morning, but the warmth lingered in the air, thick with the scent of pine sap and chamomile, a fragile armor against the chill of what lay ahead. Elena stirred first, Sophia's arm draped across her waist like a lifeline, their bodies still humming from the night's reclaimed intimacies. She slipped from the sheets, padding to the window where frost etched patterns like whispered secrets on the panes. Outside, the Adirondack forest slumbered under a hoarfrost blanket, but Elena's mind raced. Victor's call echoed, a venomous promise slithering through her veins. He's closer than we think. Downstairs, the triplets huddled at the scarred oak table, maps unfurled like battle plans. Ava's laptop glowed with satellite feeds, her fingers flying across keys, hacking into traffic cams, tracing Victor's convoy through backroads from Vermont. He's got 6 men armed but sloppy, she reported, voice steady despite the shadows under her eyes. They ditched the main highway at dawn, heading this way, maybe 2 hours out. Bella paced, sharpening a hunting knife on a whetstone, her movements precise as a dancer's fury. Let them come. I've waited years to bury that bastard's lies. Clara, ever the balancer, steeped fresh nettle tea, her hands trembling slightly as she portioned mugs. We fight smart, not blind. Remember the letters, Mom's words, Aunt Soft's drawings. They got us here. They'll get us through. Sophia descended then, hair tousled, pulling on a wool sweater that hugged her frame like a memory. She paused at the foot of the stairs, eyes meeting Elena's across the room. A silent exchange loaded with history. The way they'd once stolen glances over bassinets, willing the world to see their wholeness. Coffee? Sophia asked, voice a soft anchor. Elena nodded, crossing to her, their fingers brushing in the mundane ritual, pouring grounds, water hissing in the percolator. As steam rose, Elena leaned in, lips grazing Sophia's temple. Last night. It was us again. Whole. Sophia turned, cupping Elena's cheek, thumb tracing the faint scar from a long ago fall, chasing the girls in the park. Always us. Even in the hiding. Breakfast was a tense communion. Flapjack sizzling on the griddle, Clara's wild berry preserve smeared thick, stories traded to fortify spirits. Ava recounted her first rebellion, sneaking into Victor's study at 16, devouring forbidden texts on Stonewall and Audre Lorde, feeling the stir of identities unspoken. I drew hearts on the margins, she said. Girls holding hands like ghosts calling me. Bella shared darker edges. Fistfights with compound boys who sneered at her unladylike strength. Victor's sermons branding her wayward soul, needing a husband's yoke. But I saw you in the mirror, Mom, your fire in old photos. Kept me swinging. Clara's tales were gentler. Tending the farm's herb garden, whispering to plants about the mothers who loved like rivers. Her healer's touch born from longing to mend what was torn. Elena's throat tightened, fork paused midair. I wrote those letters every birthday, she confessed. Mailed them to post office boxes, prayers on paper. Never knew if they'd reach you. Sophia squeezed her knee under the table, a covert affirmation. They did, in fragments. Victor burned most, but the girls hoarded what slipped through like talismans. The meal shattered with a distant rumble. Engines growling through the pines. Ava's screen flared. Thermal signatures converging, 6 heat blooms fanning out. Now, she hissed. Adrenaline surged, the cabin transforming into a fortress. Bella barred the doors with felled logs, tripwires humming with tension. Clara distributed satchels. Flashlights, bear spray, Clara's poultices for wounds. Sophia grabbed her sketchpad. Not for art, but for quick maps, charcoal smudging as she marked escape routes. Elena, heart pounding, clutched a tire iron from the shed. Its cold weight a poor substitute for the justice burning in her chest. They spilled into the woods, a phalanx moving silent as deer. Elena and Sophia flanking the triplets, hands linked in pairs for strength. The lake path twisted, roots snagging boots, breath fogging in the crisp air. Behind, crashes echoed. Victor's men breaching the perimeter, shouts fracturing the birdsong. Spread out. Find the witches. One bellowed, voice thick with zealots' foam. The first clash came swift, a burly figure lunging from ferns, rifle slung low. Bella met him head-on, knife flashing in an arc that disarmed and dropped him, her knee driving into his gut with a grunt. For every lie, she growled, zip-tying his wrists to a sapling. Ava darted left, laptop slung in a waterproof pack, fingers tapping a distress beacon to Elena's old news contacts. Live feed initiating, cameras hidden in the cabin beaming to the world. Deeper in, the trap Sophia had rigged years ago, decoy trails laced with snares sprang. 2 men plummeted into concealed pits, oaths muffled by mud. But Victor pressed on, his silhouette unmistakable. Broad-shouldered, Bible holstered at his belt like a gun, face a mask of righteous thunder. He cornered them at the lake's edge, water lapping like accusatory tongues, his men circling ragged but resolute. "Sophia," he roared, eyes wild. "Sister, come home. These harpies have poisoned you anew." Sophia stepped forward, chin lifted. The artist in her yielding to the warrior Elena had always known simmered beneath. "Home? Your home was a cage, Victor." Faith twisted to control. "I choose love, Real, breathing love." She gestured to Elena, to the girls, their circle unbroken. "This is family." Victor's gaze raked the triplets, possessive hunger twisting his features. "My girls, raised pure in God's image. Ava, Bella, Clara. Obey your blood." Ava laughed, bitter and bright. "Your blood? We're theirs, born of their hearts, not your sermons." Bella cracked her knuckles, stance predatory. "Touch us, and I'll show you hell without your heaven." Clara, voice a calm blade, added, "Healing starts with truth, uncle. Yours ends here." Elena's rage crested, tire iron raised. "You stole their childhoods, my heart, dressed hate in holy robes. For what? To play God." She advanced, Sophia at her side, their unity a shield. Victor fired. A warning shot splintering bark inches from Elena's shoulder, but the women didn't flinch. Sirens wailed distant, growing, Elena's gambit paying off. Choppers thumping overhead, spotlights piercing the canopy like divine judgment. In the melee, Clara dodged a grab, her satchel spilling herbs that she flung into eyes, stinging distractions. Ava broadcasted it all. Victor's face snarling on feeds, confessions spilling as panic cracked his facade. "They were mine to save," he shrieked, lunging for Sophia. Elena intercepted, tire iron clanging against his rifle, sparks flying like fallen stars. They grappled, years of grief fueling her swings. Each blow for a missed milestone, a silenced cry. Sophia pulled her back as troopers crashed through, tasers humming, cuffs snapping. Victor thrashed, Bible tumbling into the lake, pages sodden as his empire. "Heretics!" He spat at Elena and Sophia, entwined in victory's grasp. "You'll all burn." But the words fell flat, drowned by the triplets' cheers, fists pumping, tears carving clean paths through grime. As dawn gilded the water, the family collapsed on the shore, breaths ragged, bodies bruised but whole. Elena pulled Sophia close, their kiss salt-tinged and triumphant, the girls piling in, a heap of limbs and laughter. "We did it," Ava whispered, voice cracking. Bella nodded, knife sheathed. "For us." Clara smiled, gathering spilled herbs. "And for every love hidden too long." The arrests made national waves. Cult leaders fall. Triplets reclaim lesbian mothers in lakeside standoff. Victor's compound yielded diaries of delusion, survivors' stories of coerced silences. Trials spanned seasons but justice rooted deep, sentences handed down in courtrooms echoing with testimonies of resilience. In the quiet after, they returned to Boston, the apartment blooming. Walls lined with Sophia's portraits, the five of them vibrant and unapologetic. Elena resumed writing, her memoir a bestseller weaving loss into legacy. The triplets flourished. Ava's book on queer histories, Bella's self-defense classes for survivors, Clara's clinic blending herbs and therapy. Pride became pilgrimage, marching with banners reading Love Found, Chains Broken. Knights found Elena and Sophia on the fire escape, city lights twinkling like approvals. "Our girls," Elena murmured, head on Sophia's shoulder. "They see us now, fully." Sophia's fingers traced constellations on Elena's skin. "And the world sees too. We built this." Their love, once a whisper, now a roar. Lesbian fire illuminating paths for others, proving that from ashes, families rise eternal. Healing wasn't linear. It came in waves, some gentle as the Cape Cod tides they'd revisit, others crashing like the storms that had once separated them. Back in Boston, the apartment on Beacon Hill transformed, a two-bedroom walk-up stretched by knocking down walls, funded by Elena's advance and Sophia's rediscovered gallery buzz. Sunlight poured through bay windows now, gilding canvases propped against furniture still boxed from the move. The triplets claimed corners. Ava's desk cluttered with notebooks and a vintage typewriter, Bella's weights and punching bag in the alcove, Clara's apothecary shelves lining the kitchen, jars of dried lavender and echinacea winking like allies. Elena's first night sleeping under the same roof as her daughters, the word still a miracle on her tongue, was a vigil of wonder. She lay awake, Sophia's steady breaths beside her, listening to the symphony of the new. Ava's soft snores from the pull-out, Bella's midnight pacing fading into exhausted sighs, Clara's herbal diffuser humming lullabies of eucalyptus. At dawn, Elena rose, brewing coffee strong as resolve, and found Clara already up, grinding roots at the counter. "Can't sleep?" Elena asked, sliding a mug across scarred formica. Clara's smile was tentative green eyes, mirrors of Elena's own, shadowed by unspoken weights. "Dreams," she said simply. "Of the farm. Of running." Elena nodded, pulling up a stool, the space between them a bridge half-built. "Tell me." And Clara did, halting at first, then flooding. Nightmares of Victor's silhouette in the barn, his voice thundering scriptures that branded her curiosities sinful. "I felt wrong," Clara confessed, fingers twisting a sprig of sage. "Liking the quiet touches from girls at the market, the way their laughs made my chest ache." He called it temptation. "But seeing you and Aunt Sophomore, it's like permission to breathe." Elena's heart clenched, pride warring with sorrow. She reached across, covering Clara's hand. "Callous from earth yet soft as hope. Nothing wrong in you, baby girl. Love's a river, flows where it will, deep and true." They sat then, sipping in companionable silence, the first thread of mother-daughter woven anew. By noon the others stirred. Ava tumbling in with bedhead glory, demanding pancakes. Bella challenging Elena to a spar in the alley, their laughter echoing off bricks as she pinned her gently. "You're tougher than you look, Mom." Bella grinned, helping her up. Sophia watched from the window, sketching the scene, her love a quiet orbit. Weeks unfolded in rhythms of rediscovery. Mornings brought family councils. Over yogurt parfaits and news scrolls, plotting lives unbound. Ava enrolled at Emerson College, her essays on queer narratives already turning heads. Professors murmured of fellowships, drawn to her lived fire. Bella joined a gym collective, channeling rage into coaching young queers on boundaries, her classes filling with wide-eyed teens echoing her past. Clara apprenticed at a holistic center in Cambridge, her blends easing traumas she understood bone deep. Sophia's studio bloomed in the basement, invitations pouring from Soho to Seattle, galleries hungry for her reclamation series, portraits of fractured families mending. Elena dove into her book, fingers flying over keys in coffee shops where once she'd nursed the girls in secrecy. Echoes of Us. A lesbian mother's odyssey poured out. Raw chapters on 2001's Abyss, Sophia's vanishing as a mercy wound, the triplets' emergence as warriors. Publishers vied, but Elena chose the one promising unfiltered truth, her voice a beacon for mothers like her. Hidden, heartbroken, heroic. Yet scars itched. Victor's trial loomed in federal court, Burlington, Vermont. A circus of suits and spotlights. The family drove up in Sophia's battered van, packed with snacks and resolve, the highway a ribbon of autumn golds. Motel nights were tense. Shared rooms where stories swapped like shields. Ava quizzing Elena on journalism tricks, Bella drilling self-defense, Clara leading breathing exercises under motel fluorescents. Sophia and Elena stole balcony moments, stars wheeling above, their touches reigniting. Fingers interlacing, lips brushing in the chill, reaffirming that survival was sweetest shared. Court days were crucibles. Victor, shackled and shaven, glared from the dock, his narrative a venomous spin, protecting innocence from moral decay. But the evidence mounted, Ava's footage viral, Clara's smuggled journals detailing indoctrinations, Bella's witness stand fury cracking his facade. Sophia testified last, voice steady as she recounted his obsessions. "You saw our love as theft, Victor. But it was gift, the greatest." Elena followed, her closing words a thunderclap. "He stole years but not our essence. We are women loving women, raising daughters in truth. That's the only gospel here." The verdict dropped like rain after drought. Life, no parole, his cult dismantled, restitution funneled to survivors. Outside, reporters swarmed, but the family linked arms walking into sunlight, headlines trailing. Justice for the vanished, triplets triumph over tyranny. Champagne toasts that night in the motel. Bubbles fizzing like freed laughter. Toasts to us, the unbreakable five. Winter blanketed Boston in snowdrifts, the apartment a cocoon of cocoa and carols. Holiday traditions birthed anew. Sophia's Yule log cake, Elena's storytelling circle by the tree, tales of their meeting, the triplets' births, edited for tender ears. Gifts exchanged hands. Ava's bound manuscript of family lore. Bella's custom knives etched with fierce hearts. Clara's infused oils for soothing scars. For Elena and Sophia, a private vow renewal. Rings reforged from old gold, whispered oaths in the loft. Through vanishings and victories, my love forever yours. Spring thawed doubts blooming into bold steps. The triplets dated, tentative dinners, hands held under tables. Ava with a poet whose verses rivaled her fire. Bella sparring verbally with a butch mechanic. Clara tending a barista's quiet storms. Elena beamed at parent-teacher emails. Sophia captured their blushes in quick sketches. Pride Month arrived electric. The parade a river of rainbows, the family marching mid-pack, banners aloft. 2001 lost, 2025 found. Love wins. Strangers cheered, stories shared. Hugs from elders who'd hidden like Sophia. Fist bumps from youth echoing Ava's rebellions. Yet depth called. One June evening as fireflies danced in the common, Elena and Sophia walked arm in arm. The girls trailing with ice creams. What now? Sophia asked, head on Elena's shoulder. We've clawed back so much. Elena smiled, kissing her temple. Now we live it. Loudly, lovingly for them, for us. The triplets caught up, linking arms, a chain of five weaving through twilight crowds. In that moment under city lights, Elena felt it. Not just survival but sacrament. Their lesbian love a legacy, humanizing the hidden, turning pain to profound connection. Summer solstice brought the book's launch, sold-out reading at Harvard Bookstore, fans queuing for signatures. Elena read the epilogue aloud, voice cracking. We vanished into grief, but love's compass led us home. To my wife, my daughters, you are my every why. Applause thundered, Sophia in the front row, tears gleaming, the girls flanking her with proud grins. After a rooftop party, stars winking approval, toasts clinking to futures unwritten. As leaves turned again, the family planned expansions. A queer retreat in the Adirondacks, funded by royalties, a haven for fractured families. Elena and Sophia led workshops on hidden loves, resilient raisings, the triplets guesting with their truths. In quiet hours, Elena would find Sophia at her easel, painting their circle anew. Women entwined, colors vibrant as vows. Our story, Sophia murmured, brush pausing. Elena wrapped arms around her from behind, chin on shoulder. Endless chapters. And so it was, a tapestry of trials transcended, love's long hidden laid bare. A mother's odyssey circling to wholeness. In America's beating heart they stood. Unvanquished, unapologetic, utterly alive. The retreat's groundbreaking came on a crisp October morning, 2 years post-rescue. October 17, 2027, the date etched in Elena's planner like a talisman. The Adirondack plot, once Victor's haunted fringe, now buzzed with possibility. Surveyors staking corners, locals hauling lumber under a sky of unblemished blue. Elena stood at the edge, Sophia's hand warm in hers, the triplets fanned out. Measuring tapes in hand, laughter cutting the chainsaw whine. Here, Ava declared, pounding a stake for the main lodge. Facing east to catch the dawn. Bella muscled beams, sweat beading on her brow, while Clara planted saplings. Oaks for strength, willows for flexibility, whispering blessings to roots. Press dotted the clearing, mics thrusting like eager vines, but Elena waved them to the ceremony. A circle of stones, sage smoldering in a cairn. She spoke first, voice carrying over the lake's lap. This ground held our pain, vanishings, violations. Today it cradles our power. For every hidden heart, every mother maligned, every love deemed lesser. Welcome home. Sophia followed, unveiling a plaque. Sanctuary of the unvanished. Love's lasting echo. Her artist's touch etching vines around the words. The triplets lit candles, flames dancing as they shared. Ava on stories as salve, Bella on bodies as battlegrounds reclaimed, Clara on spirits soothed by soil. Cheers erupted, shovels turning earth, symbolic bites that tasted of triumph. Lunch sprawled on picnic blankets. Clara's foraged salads, Sophia's berry tarts, Elena's anecdotes spinning webs of warmth. Reporters lingered, but the family deflected with grace, steering to the mission. Cabins for queer families in flux, workshops on trauma and tenderness, a library stocked with lives like theirs. Afternoons freed for whims, hikes to hidden coves where Sophia sketched nudes. Consensual, empowering, the triplets posing with bold ease, bodies celebrated not shamed. Evenings by bonfires, guitars strumming folk tunes laced with queer anthems, stories circling like smoke. One night as embers glowed, Bella confessed a spark, her mechanic Riley, a trans woman with grease-stained smiles and unshakable loyalty. "She's steady," Bella said, vulnerability cracking her armor. The circle leaned in, Elena's nod affirming. "Steady's the root of forever." Ava revealed her poet's deepening verse, lines blooming into shared apartments. Clara's barista evolved to partner, their quiet rituals a balm. Elena's pride swelled, mingled with a mother's vigilant ache, watching them navigate a world still laced with barbs. Online trolls resurfaced Victor's venom, doxing attempts fizzling against Ava's firewalls. But deeper, the triplets grappled with identity's layers. Ava's essays probing bisexuality's bis, Bella's explorations of non-binary edges, Clara's fluid affections weaving through genders. Family dinners became forums, Sophia facilitating with gentle probes, Elena anchoring with "You're safe to unfold." Sophia's resurgence paralleled solo shows in Manhattan, critics hailing her intimate revolutions. Portraits of Elena midlaugh, the triplets in motion, layered with symbols of rupture and repair. One piece, Whispers Unburied, sold for 6 figures. A triptych of The Vanishing Night, Search Years, Reunion Dawn, proceeds seeding the retreat. Elena attended the opening, black dress hugging curves, time had softened, Sophia's eyes devouring her across the gallery. Post-reception, hotel suite ablaze with candlelight, they made love like rediscovery. Slow explorations, gasps echoing 1995's urgency, bodies mapping scars as sacred. Elena's book tour ballooned, cities from Seattle to Savannah, audiences rapt. Single moms nodding at custody woes, elders weeping for parallel hidings, youth igniting with possibility. Q&As turned confessional. "How did you forgive?" one asked. Elena paused, Sophia's phantom hand in hers. "Forgiveness isn't erasure. It's choosing forward. For love's sake." Signing stretched hours, books inscribed with "May your hidden bloom bold." Winter holidays anchored them. The apartment festive, tree strung with triplets, baby baubles unearthed from storage. Traditions evolved. Sophia's solstice rituals blending pagan warmth with Elena's journalistic toasts to progress. New Year's dawn with resolutions whispered at midnight. Ava's novel draft, Bella's dojo launch, Clara's certification. Elena and Sophia's? A vow to travel, road trip tracing their youth, from Cambridge bars to Cape beaches, reclaiming miles with the girls in tow. Spring unfurled the retreat's first phase. Cabins rising like phoenixes, thatched roofs nodding to nature's hush. Volunteers swarmed, queer architects, therapists, carpenters, building not just structures, but spaces for stories. The family christened the Great Hall with a reading. Elena's passages, Sophia's visuals projected, triplets' poems interlacing. First guests arrived hesitant. A trans teen fleeing conversion camps, a widow unraveling bigotries, but left transformed, testimonials carving the plaque deeper. Challenges nipped. Funding dips amid economic growls, old associates of Victor's sending hate mail. But unity armored them. Bella's security sweeps, Ava's grant hunts, Clara's community herbs. Elena's op-eds rallied support, headlines shifting. From cult shadows to sanctuary lights. By summer the retreat hummed. Yoga on bluffs, art therapies in sun-dappled glades, bonfires birthing bonds. The family rotated residencies, Elena leading writing circles, Sophia visual jams, the girls tag-teaming sessions on resilience. One dusk as guests shared circles, a young mother clutched Elena's hand. "Your story. It gave me words for mine." Tears pricked. Elena hugged her, whispering, "Then we've won." Fall circled back, leaves a crimson carpet to the second anniversary. The family gathered at the lake. Now the retreat's heart, picnic-laden, guitars tuning. Sophia raised a glass. To vanishings that led here, to loves that never left. Laughter rippled, toasts clinking. As stars emerged, Elena pulled Sophia to dance. Slow sway on dew-kissed grass, the triplets joining a 5-point star spinning. In that whirl, Elena felt the arc complete. From 2001's void to this verdant now, their lesbian lineage a luminous thread, humanizing hurts into harmonies that echoed eternal. Maturity's mantle settled gently, the triplets crossing into their late 20s with a grace that humbled Elena. Women not just survived, but sculpted from the forge of their shared saga. Ava's novel, Threads of Absence, hit shelves in a whirlwind of launches. Brooklyn lofts packed with literati, her words, silences scream loudest, resonating like aftershocks. Elena attended the Boston reading, front row with Sophia, pride a lump in her throat as Ava commanded the mic, voice weaving their truths into fiction's veil. Post-event, signing lines snaking, a fan pressed. Your mom's in the dedication. Real. Ava grinned, green eyes flashing. Real as rain. Fiercer than storms. Bella's dojo burgeoned in South End, brick walls echoing thuds and affirmations. Your body, your power. She specialized in queer self-defense, classes blending Krav Maga with consent circles. Teens and elders sparring side by side, bruises badges of bravery. One evening, Elena dropped by unannounced, lacing up gloves for a demo. Bella circled her, feinting jabs. You fight dirty, Mom, she laughed, pinning Elena with a sweep. Sweaty and spent, they collapsed on mats, Bella's head on Elena's lap. Riley proposed, she murmured, flashing a ring. Simple band engraved unbreakable. Elena's tears fell hot. She sees you, all fire and heart. Clara's clinic in Jamaica Plain thrived, a green haven of poultices and talk therapy, healing holistically, honoring wholly. Her blends graced apothecaries nationwide, but her true alchemy was in sessions, guiding clients through identity's labyrinths, her own fluidity a quiet compass. Partner Lena, barista turned co-botanist, co-led workshops, their home a greenhouse of ferns and fosters. Clara invited the family for a solstice supper, vines draping the table, dishes infused with love. We're adopting, she announced shyly, ultrasound photo passing hands. Gasps turned to glee. Elena crushed her in hugs. A little healer. Our circle grows. Sophia and Elena's travels punctuated the whirl. A cross-country odyssey in a retro camper, tracing 90s haunts. Chicago's blues bars where they danced incognito. Nashville's hidden honky-tonks for two-stepping twirls. In Santa Fe, Sophia's pop-up exhibit drew crowds. Road to Reunion, mobiles of letters and locks. Elena modeling beside, their story etched in adobe light. Nights in the camper were reveries. Stars wheeling overhead, bodies entwining on memory foam. Sophia's whispers tracing Elena's spine. Every mile my map to you. Back home the retreat evolved. Second phase breaking ground. Wellness wings and youth lodges rising. Elena's second book, Sanctuary Scripts, chronicled its birth. Essays on queer kinship. Interviews with guests who'd found footing. It debuted at the retreat's grand opening. Marquee event drawing activists and allies. Speeches flowed. Governor's nod to progress, Sophia's visual ode projected on cabin walls. The triplets emceed, their banter a bomb, introducing panels on From Hiding to Holding. Elena moderating with Sophia at her side. Life's undercurrents tug too. Victor's appeals denied, but echoes in media. Sensationalized docs pitching cult love gone wrong. The family lawyered up, countersuing for defamation, turning spotlight to survivors' strengths. Personal tides. Ava's breakup with the poet, heartbreak hashed over wine-soaked vents. Bella's wedding planning, Riley's family a warm contrast to past colds. Clara's pregnancy, ultrasounds shared like sacred scrolls. Elena's 50th loomed, a milestone marked modestly. Surprise party at the retreat, lanterns strung like fireflies. Guests from tours and trials mingled, toasts to the mother who mapped us home. Sophia gifted a portrait. Elena amid the 5, silver hair crowned in light, eyes oceans of earned peace. The triplets presented a scrapbook, letters rebound, photos layered. 2001 voids to 2025 fullness. You vanished with us, Ava read from a note, but found us thrice over. Fall deepened, leaves a mosaic underfoot as Elena and Sophia walked the retreat trails, hands swinging. The girls, they're launching, Elena mused, wistful. Sophia squeezed. As we did. But roots run deep. Dinners remained anchors. Weekly feasts where updates tumbled. Ava's TEDx invite. Bella's dojo franchise dreams. Clara's nursery blueprints. Laughter-laced losses. Victor's final parole denial, met with cheers and champagne. Winter's hush brought introspection. Elena journaling by the window, snow-muffling streets, Sophia sketching beside. They volunteered at shelters, Elena tutoring memoirs, Sophia leading art for asylum seekers, pouring their odyssey into others' arcs. Spring rekindled. Clara's baby shower. A garden affair with onesies embroidered, little root. Bella's nuptials on the Cape, beachside, barefoot, Riley in a suit sharp as her vows. You fought for you, now fight with me. Ava's milestone came summer. Novel shortlisted for a Lambda ceremony in LA. The family jetted west, red carpet surreal. Elena in Sophia's arm, beaming as Ava clutched the trophy. To the women who wrote me, Ava dedicated, eyes finding them in the throng. By autumn's turn, Clara birthed River. A squall of cries in a birthing center, the family crowding the room. Elena held the bundle first, tears blurring tiny fists. Welcome, warrior, she whispered. Sophia cooed, the triplets orbiting like moons. In that sterile sacred space, Elena glimpsed eternity. Love's layered, legacies living. Years wove on, the retreat a nexus. Conferences on lesbian lineages, retreats for trans elders. Elena keynote, voice seasoned. Vanishing taught us visibility's valor. Sophia's murals grace global walls, the family her muses eternal. The triplets parented in echoes. Ava fostering narratives in classrooms, Bella guarding young hearts, Clara nurturing bodies and souls, River toddling amid aunts' adores. Elena's reflections, penned in 60s glow, crystallized. Their story, a lesbian lodestar. Dramatic disappearances yielding dramatic dawns. Suspense in separations, romance in reunions, meaning in mended holes. From 2001's abyss to this abundant now, they'd humanized the hidden, proving love's vanishings but veils over victories profound. Decades danced by in a blur of milestones and quiet magnitudes, the family's tapestry rich with threads of triumph and tenderness. By 2045, the retreat sprawled a verdant village, cabins clustered like supportive kin, solar panels glinting ethical promise, a community garden yielding feasts for all. Elena, 70 now, silver hair a crown of wisdom, directed from a solar-powered office overlooking the lake, coordinating expansions with a tablet, her emails laced with wry humor. Sophia, beside in their lakeside cottage, painted still, vibrant softened to sages, series on legacy layers, capturing grand triplets at play. The original 5 had multiplied. River, Clara's firstborn, a whirlwind of 12 with her mother's empathy and Aunt Bella's spark, tending the garden with Lena's patient guidance. Ava's twins, Sage and Juniper, bookish whirlwinds of 10, penning chapbooks under her tutelage, debated ethics at dinner. Bella and Riley's adopted duo, Kai and Jordan, rambunctious 8-year-olds, one non-binary firecracker, the other gentle inventor, sparring in the dojo with uncle-like zeal. Grandchildren scampered the grounds, a gaggle of genders fluid as the lake, their laughter the retreat's true heartbeat. Family gatherings swelled. Annual solstice summits, tents pitched lakeside, bonfires roaring tales. Elena presided, voice gravelly but gripping. Recitals of 2001's Hook, Sophia's sketches animating the drama. Victor as a storm cloud, the reunion a rainbow arc. The young ones hung rapt, questions bubbling. Did you cry, Nana Elena? River asked, freckles dancing. Rivers of them, Elena chuckled, pulling her close. But tears water growth. Sophia's health faltered first. A tremor in her brush hand. Diagnosed as early Parkinson's, the artist in her raging against the thief. Elena became sentinel. Research dives into therapies, Clara's custom blends easing shakes, the family orbiting closer. Ava documented it gently. Podcasts on aging and love, Sophia guesting with sketches of her shaky grace. Bella adapted the dojo for mobility, Sophia sparring verbally. My lines waver but my fight's straight. Through infusions and ice storms their nights deepened, Elena's readings aloud from dog-eared erotica. Sophia's head in lap, touches tracing familiar maps, love's language unslurred. Elena's own twinges came, arthritis-stiffing fingers once wheeling words, but she adapted, voice-to-text for columns, Retreats admin delegated to a queer collective the Triplets mentored. Her third book, Circles Eternal, chronicled the Retreat's quarter-century. Anecdotes of guests' glow-ups, the family's fractal growth. Launch at the Great Hall, grandkids' page-turning drew dignitaries. A president-elect toasting beacons of belonging. The Triplets, now matriarchs in their 40s, helmed legacies. Ava Dean at a liberal arts haven, her syllabus a queer canon. Bella franchise queen, dojos dotting coasts, scholarships for marginalized youth. Clara global herbalist, clinics in underserved nooks, river shadowing her blends. Partners integrated seamless, Lena's botanicals partnering Clara's, Riley's mechanics maintaining retreat fleets, Ava's poet spouse co-authoring verse. Challenges crested anew. Climate floods lapping the lake, Elena rallying grants for resilient builds. Resurgent bigotries in polls, the family countering with op-eds and marches, grandkids hoisting signs. Loves the law. Victor's shadow faded to footnote. His death in prison unmourned. A obituary Elena shredded unread. Sophia's decline accelerated in 2050. Wheelchair her chariot. Brushes strapped for strokes bold as ever. The family curated her retrospective. Galleries worldwide. Shades of Us touring. Proceeds endowing artists grants. Opening night in Boston, Sophia wheeled center stage. Elena at her side, voice amplified. My hands falter, but my heart's palette runs eternal. To Elena, my anchor. To our daughters, my sparks. Thank you for the colors. Tears cascaded, applause a thunderous embrace. Winter that year was Sophia's last. Snow blanketing the cottage, family rotating vigils. Stories swapped, songs sung. Hands held in circles. Elena read their old letters, voices overlapping in mimicry. Sophia slipped at dawn, February 14th, Valentine's. Her final sketch, a heart encircling the five. Annotated forever's fine line. Grief hollowed them, but Elena's words at the lakeside farewell steadied. She painted our vanishing into vision. Her love? Immortal ink. Morning morphed to memorial. Sophia's ashes scattered in the lake. A mural mosaic rising on the Great Hall. Tiles from guests, grandkids' handprints. Elena curated a wing in her name. Art therapy haven, easels waiting. Nights alone. Elena journaled by the hearth, Sophia's ring on a chain. Whispers to the widow's walk. You were my horizon. Spring bloomed defiant. Elena's 80th, a retreat jubilee, balloons and banners, grand orchestra of young voices. She danced with ghosts and grands, Sophia's rhythm in her step. The Triplets gifted a time capsule. Letters to future selves buried by the plaque. Elena's 90s brought honors. Lifetime Achievement Awards, TED Legend slot. Her voice a velvet rumble. From 2001's eclipse to this enlightenment, love between women isn't subplot. It's the epic. She mentored remotely. Zines from grandkids her joy. The end whispered in 2060. Autumn's gold gilding the lake. Elena, 97, frail but fierce, gathered the now-adult great-grandchildren, River's teens, Ava's tweens offspring, in the cottage. Listen, she breathed, hands trembling on Sophia's sketch. We vanished, but love located us. Be bold in your hidings. Bloom in your truths. Sophia's portrait watched from the wall, eyes twinkling. She faded that night, Sophia's name on lips, the family cradling her passage. A chorus of We Love You's breath sinking to release. Dawn broke, lake mirroring their circle unbroken. The legacy endured. Retreat a global model, the family's archives in libraries, stories scripted for stages. In Boston's heart, a statue rose, 5 women linked plaque reading. Triplets vanished 2001. Love found eternal. Their tale a lesbian legend, kaleidoscope of kinesis, emotions empire, romance's reclamation, drama's depth, suspense's spine, humanism's hymn. Echoed through eras, vanishing only to re-emerge in every heart it touched. Epilogue whispers lingered long after Elena's light dimmed, the family's flame fanned by her final flickers. A codicil in her will commissioning a biennial Echo Award for hidden heroes. Queer parents penning their truths. The first gala 2062 at the Retreat's amphitheater. Stars pricked velvet, lake lapping applause. Honored a trans dad from the Southwest. His memoir Desert Dawns echoing Elena's arcs. River emceed 30 now, Clara's healer grace in her poise, voice carrying. Nana Elena taught us, vanishings are verses, not endings. To the voices rising, shine. The great-grandchildren, a vibrant vanguard, infused fresh fire. Sage's VR exhibits immersing in 2001 shadows, Juniper's policy pushes for family protections, Kai's activist zines, Jordan's eco-art collectives. They summered at the retreat, Elders' Tales their textbooks, Victor's villainy a cautionary cartoon, the reunion a romance reel. Did Great Nana Soph really sketch maps in secret? They'd press eyes wide. Ava, Great Aunt Emeritus, would nod, pulling faded napkins from archives. Coated in curves like her love. Bella, silver-streaked sentinel, retired her gloves to advisory, mentoring global dojos via holocalls. Riley at her side, their home a haven for foster kin. Fought enough fists, she'd quip over family Zooms. Now fists to hearts. Clara, matron of medicinals, authored tomes on trauma tinctures, Lena's legacy in every leaf. Their brood, River and cousins, carried the torch. Herbalists, healers, a lineage lush. The Retreat Pulse Planetary. Satellite sanctuaries in Berlin, Mumbai, Sydney. Blueprints beamed from Adirondack servers. Elena's ethos encoded. Spaces for stories unspoken. Annual pilgrimages drew thousands. Pride convoys parking campers. Workshops weaving worlds. Sophia's murals restored by grandkids watched over. Women in whirl colors crying, come as you are. Global gales tested. Authoritarian eddies eroding rights. The family countering with coalitions. Petitions penned by Ava's descendants. Protests paced by Bella's. Elena's archives digitized, a digital dawn for dissidents. VR tours of the cabin clash, podcasts pulsing her prose. She'd say fight with words first, River lectured young activists. Fists if words fail. Centennial neared, 2251, the vanishing of vestigial scar, the finding folklore. The retreat's millennium marker. A holographic Elena, AI woven from journals, greeting guests. Hello seeker. What's your hidden? Interactions intimate. Counsel on coming outs, crises, cradles, her voice warm as hearth guiding generations. Family reunions ritualized. Every decade, lakefront convocations, trees planted per soul. Sophia's willow weeping wisdom, Elena's oak towering truth. Tales transmogrified. Plays penned by sages, ballets by Jordans, symphony scoring suspense. The hook endured, rain-lashed diner, phantom text now a mantra. From void to vivid. In quiet codas descendants communed. River's twilight vigils at Elena's stone. Beloved mother, wife, warrior. Sharing sunsets, Sophia's sketchbook passed like a Bible. Your love's lit ours. They'd murmur, winds whispering a chord. Thus the saga spiraled. A lesbian legend, dramatic in disappearances, suspenseful in searches, emotional in embraces, romantic in renewals, meaningful in multiplicities. Triplets vanished in 2001, but in love's ledger they, and their mothers were eternally exuberantly found.